Hey, Freddie.
Hey, Noah.
What gets you wound up?
Dude, the fucking government, man.
Oh man, the government. Yeah,
Let
tell me
you,
more
man.
about that.
Let me tell you, man. They're crooks and thieves, all of them. They're ripping off the common man. That gets me wound up like nothing else.
Yeah, that gets me wound up too, man.
It gets me so wound up.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that with me. Hello and welcome to the Album Spotlight Podcast, the only podcast that puts the spotlight on albums. My name's Noah.
My name's Freddie.
And today, we're getting wound up.
We are getting wound up. Yeah. Remember the time that I did the intro, and then I switched around all the words?
Yeah. Yeah, and everyone hated that episode. They told me that.
They told you that? What did they say?
Yeah, they said Freddie fucked up the intro. I could barely keep listening afterwards, and it enraged me.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
No good.
I got several strongly worded emails saying that. Verbatim, actually.
Verbatim.
Yeah, so you're not allowed to do it anymore. Yeah. You've lost your intro privileges.
No, I lost my intro privileges. Too bad.
Yeah.
I like doing that.
I don't know, man. It sounds like you don't really give a shit.
Yeah. I give a slight shit.
I give a little shit.
I give a little shit. It's not a big one.
Yeah. I mean, in this economy, who can blame you?
This economy, man. The economy, man. Government.
Yeah, first the government, then the economy.
No, first they came for the government. First they came.
And I did nothing because I'm not a government.
Because I'm not the government. And then they came for the economy.
And I said nothing because I'm not an economy. We have fun here. But yes, today we are talking about the band Unwound.
Ooh, Unwound. Yeah.
And their album, Leaves Turn Inside You.
Inside you.
Inside you.
I like saying it like that.
I mean, I imagine that's how it's meant to be said. Like you're supposed to read it like that.
Yeah, that's what they intended.
There's an implied finger being pointed.
I don't know. There's something there's something that like is like a little uncomfortable about it, you know. They're just like reading. It's just like ooh, inside me.
It's like you're talking to me.
You're talking to me. It's like a little too close, you know.
Yeah.
It's like don't refer to me in the second person.
Yeah.
Album title.
Don't
like,
perceive me. Don't perceive me, Unwound. You don't know what's going on inside me.
And Leaves could be doing all kinds of things inside of me.
Yeah.
Who fucking knows, man? Jesus.
I could be turning, tossing.
Turning, tossing.
Fluttering about.
Yeah. Winding.
Winding. Unwinding.
Unwinding. God, okay.
This is stupid.
This is very stupid. Fuck, well, who's Unwound? Just,
well, I'll tell you who Unwound is. I'll tell you who Unwound is. They are.
Oh, you'll tell me who Unwound is?
I'm about to tell you who Unwound is right now. They are a post-hardcore band. They were formed in Washington, America. Washington State, that is.
Washington, America.
As we say in America. Or for most of their career, they were composed of Justin Trosper, the frontman, guitar, vocals, and then Vern Rumsey on bass, and then you got Sarah Lund on drums.
Indeed.
Although Vern has since passed I think it was 2020 he passed.
Yeah, it was a couple years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So now we got Jared Warren filling in on bass.
Mm-hmm.
I believe this is the first episode we've done about a band that we've seen live, right?
Is that true? Wow. Yeah, I think we've had this conversation before. Yeah, that's kind of wild.
Yeah, I think it's true.
Yeah. Yeah, we really have like picked outside of the mostly outside of the sphere of like the artist we've like gone and made the trek to see. Yeah.
Yeah, we saw them. We saw the winders, as we like to call them. Or is that what the fans are called?
Oh, that's true. I feel like that's probably one of the fans.
Yeah.
Winders. I feel like they're just called Unwound. Yeah. The Unwinders. So yeah, Unwound, they're one of the most famous acts to come out of the sort of Pacific Northwest punk scene in the 90s.
Yes.
So yeah, and that was when their like primary output was like the 90s, which was kind of like the heyday of the post-hardcore world.
Mm-hmm.
And and they formally broke up in like basically it was right after this album Leaves was 2001, and they broke up pretty much right after that.
Because of 9/11.
And because of 9/11, it was too much for them.
One can assume.
Why do they keep coming up in this fucking podcast? We're always talking about 9/11. Yeah. It probably was, though, because the album came out before 9/11, and then they...
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see. I wonder when they... Does Wikipedia say when they broke up the first time? Yeah, and announced their disbandment on April 1st, 2002. So, yeah, it's not long after,
Yeah, it's, they were probably processing it that whole time.
Yeah.
And then
anyway,
they decided we gotta quit it.
We gotta quit it. We gotta quit this shit. But yeah, so yeah, they were gone for quite a while, but then they miraculously decided to get back together just like a couple years ago, and so then we managed to catch them on tour on like their first tour back, which was very cool.
Yeah, we didn't even know they were back. We you just saw that they were touring, right?
Yeah, I forget exactly. Yeah, I think I heard. I forget exactly what the order of it was, but yeah, I was just like, it was like because I think they basically came back and immediately announced the tour or something. They haven't released any new material. They've come back just to start touring again.
Although they might be making a new album, I think.
Yeah, possibly.
Oh, I've made an error.
An error?
Yeah, it appears that Scott Seckington is also an official member on guitar now.
Yeah.
Second guitar. Like
right,
so not
right
a trio
now
anymore. Yeah.
Oh, Scott Seckington. Yeah, I think he wasn't there when we saw it. I think it was just
yeah, I feel like it was just the three of them when we saw them. But it says he's been an official member since 2022.
Yeah.
On Wikipedia and Rate Your Music.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they were primarily like a post-hardcore and noise rock band in the underground, in the punk underground. And then they kind of took a left turn with this album, which is a hard one to categorize as far as the genres.
Yeah.
People still debate what exactly it is, but I think it's generally considered to be their magnum opus. Yeah, then they broke up after that. Yeah,
promptly after it killed them.
Yeah.
I've been like getting like sort of anxious around talking about this album in a way that I don't normally on this show. I mean, just like I guess cards on the table. This is just like one of my favorite albums that's ever been made. I'll sort of I have like a list of albums that's probably way more than 10 long that I consider to be like probably in my top 10 albums. There's probably like 30 albums or something that I say that about. But like
yeah,
this one I think probably would actually be. I'm like doubting my abilities to like do it justice.
Mm-hmm.
Like speak like I feel like it's like what I love about it is so like kind of apparent on like the sort of immediate emotional level, but it's very difficult to it doesn't make it easy to sort of articulate it.
Yeah.
Because it's very sort of abstract. Yeah, like the appeal of it doesn't lie in its like in its kind of performance on any sort of normal like set of categories or whatever that you could sort of talk about in this straightforward way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm all like so I'm like, oh god, I don't want to give like a vulgar treatment you know, because I love my love so deeply.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like a combination of when you feel that strongly about something, it's hard to explain that in general. Like it kind of feels like when you're trying to recommend something to a friend and you don't want to like overhype it too much.
Yeah.
Because then their expectations get really high and they come into it skeptical and it hurt your feelings about it.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I do think this album's appeal is maybe a bit hard to explain. Yeah, this was one that had to grow on me because when I went into it, I thought it was going to be a completely different kind of album.
Yeah. I had a similar experience.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, it's a post-hardcore album. I like post-hardcore. I like, what do I like? What's an album?
Fugazi.
Fugazi. Oh. I like Fugazi. I like At the Drive-In.
Yeah.
I like
fucking
Drive Like Jehu.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't sound
Husker
like any of
Du.
those. Yeah, Husker Du. I do love some Husker Du. Yeah, it just doesn't sound like any of those. Yeah, that kind of gets into like, is it really a post-hardcore album? Is it like any number of things that other people have called it? I think
it's almost like I think in ethos and like the tradition it heralds from, it is 100% like pure uncut post-hardcore. I would like to defend that to the end, but in sound, but it is like this place where maybe we should spell out what we mean first before I make this point. Let's go into that. Okay, so Noah, what like explain like what post-hardcore is and like where that what that comes from.
Yeah, well, that's part of where the difficulty comes because any of the any genres with the name post in it are kind of inherently.
Yourself.
It's like asking for that term to be dated at some point because it's like a time sensitive label, you know, because eventually the post genre goes on long enough, and then what's after that, and how long can something be post, and it like implies that the original thing had an expiration date too. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I feel like they made a lot of rock after post rock.
you know, which is another thing that people call this. But post hardcore. It's an offshoot or an evolution or however you want to think of it of hardcore punk, which goes back to the original punk rock movement. They basically were just faster and louder and angrier, less commercial.
So it was like Dead Kennedys and Black Flag and like
Bad Brains,
early to mid 80s kind of. Heyday.
And then very swiftly, bands like Rites of Spring and Fugazi started taking that kind of music and then just kind of branching out and being less strictly tethered to the aggression of it. I find that it's often more like bass heavy, more sometimes atmospheric. Usually it gives more room to breathe. It might not be as fast, but it's still like rebellious. It can really run the gamut though. Like some
At the Drive-In's pretty intense.
At the Drive-In's pretty intense. No Means No is pretty intense.
Yeah.
Drive Like Jehu too, but like Fugazi is a lot more
earlier.
melodic.
Unwound could be pretty intense.
Yeah, like a lot of Unwound stuff is. Honestly.
Even some of this album.
And when we saw them live, they were very intense.
Yeah.
It's kind of a vague term. It's since the 90s, it's become synonymous with like melodic metalcore.
Which is so fucking weird.
Because it's like barely related. Yeah, that was very rambly, but I don't know. It's just a more experimental and adventurous form of hardcore punk, I guess you could say.
It's very interesting. I mean, punk is full of these, like, its project is so inherently kind of daring and pushes against, like, the established trends and norms in a direct way, which is where its appeal comes from. But the sort of volatility of it makes it very prone to, like, fracture.
Yeah.
And so it's like that is like the total history of punk. We talked, I think, a good bit about this in the like the like Japan episode when we were talking about post punk, which is different than post hardcore. Because you'll notice, like, it was like, so you had like, the original punk, and like the real like proper punk was like maybe like a year before people started making stuff that was like called post punk. And so you like almost immediately you had post punk coming out of punk, which was the slower stuff, more very atmospheric often. Yeah. And then there are various parts of that. You know, you had like the new wavy stuff. You had the more like dreary gothy stuff. And then, but that was like a totally different trend than like hardcore punk, which also came out like immediately after real punk, and so then those were existing simultaneously in the 80s. Then. So you had post-punk and hardcore punk, but then within several years, hardcore punk got its own post, and so then you had, and people kept making post-punk. So then you had hardcore, then you had post-hardcore and post-punk, and people still just making, hardcore punk. Mm-hmm. so it's just like it's just this fracturing thing that just happens, but it all shares the same. There's like a kernel at the root of it, which makes it all punk.
It's an attitude and ethos. And to an extent, vocal delivery. So post punk and post hardcore seem like they should be the same thing or similar, but they're really not at all.
There's a real difference. You can like this isn't like one of these fake genre distinctions. These ones you do actually like the difference is clear if you like get even just a little familiar with the music,
Yeah. Joy Division and Fugazi do not sound the same at all.
Yeah. But no, I think I love, I mean, I there's a lot of post-hardcore that I really love. I think it's one of those genres that goes really, really deep. And a lot of my favorite bands fall somewhere within that that sort of tradition. If you expand it like to if you allow post-punk too, that's like so much of like the like rock music, like my favorite like rock music ever is like within that. But like post-hardcore I think is so interesting because it's for the most part like the real classic post-hardcore is all these people who sort of cut their teeth in like the hardcore punk world, like have this really strong like have a really strong sense of what's punk, what's real, what's DIY, and also like know how to fucking like play their instruments a bit and write a song, and it's very
those boys can write a song.
Yeah,
they sure can write a tune.
Can write a tune. Post-hardcore stuff. It's just a very like it's like a very mature form of just like of sort of like the punk project. And it's at least its sort of main phase when it was really good. Of course, it got very commercial later, as we were talking about. But like in the sort of main post-hardcore phase, it was very like like Fugazi is a really good example of like they totally refused to sell out. In this very they had this thing of like it was like shows were what like $15 or something or $20 or whatever. They had some set price.
Yeah, it was $15 for Fugazi. I'm pretty sure.
It was like $15 would be like the shows and the shirts would be the same price.
Or was it like $5?
Or it might have been $5. I don't know. It was something. I forget exactly. It was fucking inflation, man. This economy. I don't even know what kind of money. Yeah, but it was some set price that was very reasonable at the time. And they were like
wound up, dude.
This got me fucking wound up. This economy. Yeah. And they would just stick really hard to that because and they were just like we will not compromise on this. And they were like the most they're like the shining example of that. But I think that was something that extended pretty widely throughout the post-hardcore world, was that kind of thing of just like really serious commitment to the craft from really mature musicians. And who are also they're very mature musicians, but also were like at their sort of creative peak in this way of like, and like refused to put out shit that was whack. I think that's how I'd characterize a lot of these bands. And so it's just very like, it makes for just a really good scene, you know?
Yeah.
There's a lot of just really good stuff. And a lot of it's very different from each other. Like, it's all very recognizably post-hardcore. But everyone's got their thing, and they know like what their thing is, and they're doing it really well. That's how I describe it. So it's really fun to dig into. Yeah, maybe we're talking about so much shit. Maybe we should
yeah, focus it a little bit.
Man. I mean, I guess we could just quickly say it. So like Unwound are so there were various sort of nexes of the sort of like hardcore punk and then into post hardcore. Like a big one was like the DC area.
Yeah.
This was sort of what emerged kind of in like the late 80s into the 90s. Was like the Pacific Northwest, and particularly like Olympia, Washington.
Yeah.
Was a big punk place. This was also where like the Riot Girl scene emerged. It was like Bikini Kill and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And grunge wasn't too far from there in Seattle.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the grunge right in Seattle was like so yeah, it was like also that Pacific Northwest. It was very big for this kind of the 90s was big for punk music. But yeah, or for Olympia, whatever, you know what I mean. But yeah, but it was Twin Peaks. God damn it. But yeah, so Unwound sort of they made several albums, and they're then I don't think they really have a bad album. They have multiple albums that are fucking excellent.
Extremely consistent band.
Yeah, they did not like putting out bullshit. Clearly,
yeah,
they put out good shit. Yeah, so like for example, their album, their New Plastic Ideas is one of my favorites from '94. Which is in a way like fairly has like a much more sort of I don't want to say I guess standard like post-hardcore sound than the later stuff, but like it's you already hear at this idea, and so like the vocal style is very screamy. The guitars are very like thick and loud. It sort of has that but already at this point you hear the sort of like what's coming to mind is just like kind of windy, which is like a little funny, but I mean they're called Unwound, but like they do this thing that it's just sort of like it winds around a bit, and it's just sort of like
it's some bands will like riff in a more direct way. That they'll hit you with a catchy heavy riff.
Yeah,
and the song will be built around that. Whereas Unwound's songs kind of sprawl out a bit more, and they're more abstract. It's still often like really loud and noisy.
Yeah.
But they have this like uneasy energy to them.
Yeah. It's like a bit of like an anxious energy, but not exactly. But like only sort of, and then sometimes it will luxuriate in an idea for like a while, and then it'll abruptly move to something else, and then sometimes it'll just do something for a little bit and then move. But it's very like there's this quality of sort of like of like exploring a bit, like you're just like moving around and like living in these little places like a little bit, as opposed to like being like yeah. So I don't know. So I think that's something that's always sort of present, and there's just this little bit of weirdness, a little bit of windiness. One of the big achievements, the album Repetition from '96 is really excellent. And that one's oh, it's so good. Yeah, there's a lot of really there's some real experimentation on that one. Yeah,
I go back to that one about as much as I do Leaves.
Yeah. Yeah, I probably even listened to it more just because like Leaves is is such a like intense thing. Like I have to like really get ready for it, you know.
Yeah,
they play a lot on this one with like they start with using like tape recordings and like little like more some electronics and stuff. It's like they're bit by bit kind of replacing like the standard punk elements, you know, the big loud guitars, the screamy vocals, all of this. They're bit by bit like replacing this with other things, but while still maintaining something that is like 100% recognizably like punk, like just as much as like the older stuff.
And I think another
Yeah.
element that's probably important to bring up is how they're also adjacent to the noise rock scene, which is also pretty ingrained with post-hardcore in general.
Yeah.
But I think bands like Sonic Youth were probably a very
Yeah.
big influence
Definitely.
on them.
Yeah. And they're sort of coming a little more from the post-punk tradition as opposed to post-hardcore. So
Yeah.
then it's like this, like, so then it's like, oh no, the paths are mixing. We're losing our genre fidelity.
What will we do?
What do we do? Oh man, but yeah, but basically, so yeah, that all that that's sort of the Unwound story, and they but yeah, so
The
their final
unwound background.
the Unwound background. Their final album is then this one, which comes in 2001. Yeah, and
Pre 9/11.
pre 9/11, 17th of April. Man, little did they know. What have they what they would have done to this album if
They had no idea what was just
no
around
idea
the
what was
corner.
coming. Was just around the corner.
That's so stupid.
Yeah, I know.
As far as Leaves Turn Inside You, yeah, the first time I heard it, what I was expecting was, I mean, I knew it wasn't just like a, I don't know, bog standard post-hardcore album.
Yeah,
Like
one of those fucking lame ass regular albums.
Yeah. Like I knew there was something, going to be something different about it, but I expected it to probably like build more, or like, okay, yeah, there are a bunch of quiet parts, but it's like going to build to like a really loud part, or like I expected more of like traditional, I guess, payoff.
Yeah,
I wasn't really prepared for how atmospheric and abstract it would be. And I think I didn't appreciate at first how psychedelic it is.
yeah,
Because I would say it is, like the psychedelic elements are pretty integral to the sound of this thing and what makes it unique.
yeah, definitely.
I could hear the post rock elements in there, and I liked that at first. But yeah, I thought it would be, I don't know, it would do the more obvious thing of,
Yeah.
of having like a huge build, and then it gets like really noisy or something. I think it is very satisfying if you like come to it on its own terms, and
Yeah,
like, I appreciate it for the atmosphere it's creating,
yeah,
the like deep sense of like despondency and kind of time passing you by.
yeah. It's like a deeply emotional project.
Yeah.
I think I had the same. I think I basically had the same experience of getting into it, where I listened to it and I was just like, oh yeah, it's gonna be like Fugazi or something. Yeah, hell yeah, post hardcore. It's just like, I was like, what? Why are the vocals like only in one ear, and it's like
Yeah.
they like never actually play, like all the guitars are just clean, and it's like or if they're not, they're like, also only in one ear. Or
Yeah.
they're doing these weird little like jagged passages, just like a with like a sort of groovy just like slow beat thing. Yeah, it's like very like there's basically not a just like standard like punk section to be found on it. I mean, there's places where it's like getting closer to it. But yeah, all of it is just completely this like uniquely like unwound thing. It keeps all of the intensity of their really loud kind of early material, except without any of the elements that and any of like the formal elements that make it. Like,
Yeah.
they've just systematically removed each of them and replaced them with something else, and so it's like it's completely like recognizably like that same like doing that same thing, but here it's with like the way it presents that kind of intense like energy or whatever is like completely like in this very new unique way. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it substitutes sonic intensity, well, sometimes kind of, for emotional intensity is like the way to really oversimplify it.
Yeah.
They did a Ship of Theseus treatment to punk.
Yeah.
So, shall we discuss the opener?
Let's discuss.
So yeah, this album opens and it was quite the statement. Like if you were an Unwound fan in the '90s, like keeping up with all their albums, and you picked this one up. Like, oh, my favorite band, Unwound. Oh, how delightful!
Yeah.
They've come out with another album.
Uh-huh.
I imagine that's what
That's how all
'90s
the Unwound
Unwounds.
fans talk.
Yeah, and then the album opens with this synth drone.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of synthesizers. I don't even know how many are layered.
They each start with this falling, this like quick pitch fall thing, and so they all go like "Choo!" As like their like impact, and then they it might be a sample or something, I don't know, or they're like a loop sample or something, but it's just like it's it's obviously electronic sound. That's and then there's like a bunch of them like all on top of each other that all come in at a slightly different time. So it goes like and they like but they all like form this big consonant sort of mass. And so it all like coalesces very quickly into this big drone, which just goes on for like 2 minutes.
Yeah. It's almost half the song. It's crazy.
It's an incredible way to start. It's so like daring.
It really is. It's like, okay, this album is not like any of our other albums. Just letting you know that immediately.
Yeah.
But it also does kind of acclimate you to, at least on repeat listens, I find that it acclimates me to the mood and the atmosphere of the album really effectively. At least that's how it affects me. I imagine some people just like turned it off before the drone stopped. They're like, "Oh, okay,
yeah."
So what is this shit? I don't care."
It's like the fucking it's like in fucking I think is it Stalker, the Tarkovsky film, where it's where he was like it starts with this extremely long shot, and there's this quote where he's just like, "Well, yeah, people had to know." I had to show people that they were in the wrong theater if they were. People give people a little time to leave. They come to the wrong theater. Man, this one it's so. I mean, I don't know. As like, I'm a big drone music lover, and so and so I can do this shit forever. But it's like it is like, I mean, because like the thing that happens in drone music, which is really like kind of key to it, is like the rarely is it like a truly like a truly static sound. Like even if you just have like say like this whatever thing playing like a couple notes, like a chord on top of each other, like there's just like when you're listening to it over like a couple minutes, you start to hear the patterns of like you start to hear the patterns of like the sort of of like the different notes sort of going in and out of phase, and it changes the timbre of like the total sound as a result in a sort of slow periodic way. And so you can and so there's just this really sort of deep meditative thing of just like sitting there and listening to that and hearing the evolution.
It makes you pay attention to the timbre of the piece a lot more than in pretty much any other kind of music where it's moving faster.
That's like the totally daring first like 2 minutes of this punk album. It's just like it's just like a fucking drone piece.
And then a somewhat eerie guitar line comes in, like fades in, and then it drops out, and then the rest of the band comes in, and this like kind of this washing. Sort of sound, I guess is how I would describe it.
I don't know. This is like one of these albums that people will like associate with like the with like the sort of like shoegaze movement that was going on at this time in like a
Oh yeah.
in like a loose way. And this is one, like, when I'm listening to it, I don't really think of that at all. Like, it just feels like a totally different thing it's doing. But it is like, I do see there's a certain, the way it builds these sort of walls of sound in it. There's like a sort of formal similarity, I guess.
Yeah, and I think the psychedelic tendencies are some overlap too.
Yeah, one big thing is like that just persists throughout this album. Like Justin Trosper, the vocalist, is like he does like in their earlier stuff is it's all like he does these really intense punk like screamy punk vocals.
Yeah,
and it's just and he is completely different in this album. They're like all clean. It's super wispy and often kind of like reverby and like push back. I don't know. It feels like he sounds completely different, but you sort of I think his vocals are such an important part of like the entirety of Unwound, and it always like feels like him in this way. Like it's always like very recognizably like he has like a very distinct thing going on, even when his voice sounds completely different.
Yeah. It still has this like punk. I want to say apathetic tone to his voice.
It's more about the expression of something raw than it is like achieving some sort of formal kind of ideal.
There's something about the effect of like the way that his vocals are often treated. Depending on the song, they'll put these different effects on them to make them sound like kind of warped and mangled,
like flangers or like
yeah,
little, gating things. It'll be like oh blah, 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 blah.
yeah,
like that kind of thing.
Yeah, like sometimes they'll treat the synthesizers and the vocals with like almost the same effects.
Yeah.
which is like super weird as a production move, but really cool.
Yeah.
It makes it sound, I guess, like he's trying to communicate to you from another plane.
Yeah.
Is kind of how I hear it sometimes.
Yeah, he's like a voice from beyond.
Like a ghost, you could say.
Look, a ghost, you could say.
That's what we said when we saw him on stage.
I know. Oh god, did we? Yeah, we should have made that joke.
We should have.
Yeah.
If any of them heard us, they would have just been like, really?
Yeah. I don't know. Like their stage vibe was like so funny. I remember
it really
Justin
was
like he was completely like he's like so not a showman. In like a very obvious way, and so it was all like he would be doing the vocals, but all of like the stage talk would be Sarah, the drummer. She was like the only normal one who was like holding it together, and she would be the one who actually talked to the crowd. The Justin would just sort of stand there, and then he would sing.
But yeah, we invent you.
Yeah, you hear the introduction of some of this like Mellotron stuff later in the song. They have this big like washy. This one's one of the really like sort of psychedelic ones, and the the guitars are. It's just like there's like a sort of pretty clean guitar that's just kind of like in one ear. It's like very like pushed back, and then the drums are the only thing that's kind of like clean. Yeah, and then you have just like this wash of like strings and the mellotron, and the vocals are all just kind of like pushed around and sort of floating around. It's such a like ethereal kind of thing that like washes over you. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of picture the waves coming in and out on the shore on like a really overcast day.
Yeah.
Maybe it's raining or even snowing, like it's really chilly.
Yeah. This is like the most like overcast album.
Yeah. It really is. Oh yeah, that was part of why we chose it, because we wanted to do a wintry kind of album.
Oh, yeah, that's true. This,
It's also kind of like autumn, winter.
Like the way I sort of see this album is very like things are sort of are like gradually coming to a close. I mean, it's interesting, right? Because it comes at the end of the band. It comes at like what this point when punk is really kind of like is really on its last legs as like a like fruitful, exciting new artistic movement, you know?
Yeah. And kind of rock music in general.
And kind of rock music in general, yeah. And of course, like, it also, like, you know, like the 20th century and stuff. I don't know. So you can get all probably...
Y2K.
Yeah, it's all very Y2K. Yeah, but it's like... it just sort of has this sense of... it's like ending, but in this way of like... And like things just like steadily getting a little worse. And I think they evoke pretty explicitly the sort of seasonal metaphor, you know, of like you just see it, you can see it already just in the track titles, you know. They talk about like the December, you know, like winter, and then like summer freeze and October all over. Both of these, like, you know, are like it was once warm, it was once like nice and warm, and things are getting colder. Things are getting a little colder. The day is getting a little shorter every day, and there's just this feeling of like is it coming? Is it going to come back or not? You know, is it like you know, is it all done? Is it at its, you know, the terminus, the drawer and word, or is it a are we going to come out the other side? And
is October all over?
Is October all over? Is the summer frozen? Is the one lick less?
Is the century off?
Is the ghost a look? One of the important things I think in understanding this album is that it's very much like not like a concept album or something in any straightforward way.
Yeah,
and that's kind of the point. That's kind of what makes it a little hard to like talk about explicitly, because it's very like it captures something which is extremely clear when you hear it, but it's not just like this thing represents this thing, you know. It's like that's, you're sort of missing you're losing track of what's really special about it, and getting too into that. But that is like a big theme of it.
I know it was something that's this downcast. You kind of want an explanation of like what it's about or what or like what it means directly.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's just not how it is, you know. Sometimes it's not how it is.
Just not how it be.
Yeah. It's like sometimes people are just sad, man.
Yeah, man.
I don't know. Like we've all had those days, or years, or forevers when we feel like, like the best days are behind you, and so I think there's still like a kind of relatable and human quality to it, even as cryptic as it is. Yeah, good opener. We're kind of like jumping back and forth between talking about the whole album and the opener, but
yeah, I don't know. We're getting it all out.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very holistic album, so talking about the individual tracks is probably going to be more about how they reinforce the whole rather than standouts.
I want to like give all of the tracks like their like whole thing, but I think that like maybe isn't the most fruitful, because it'll be very like it'll be sort of repetitive. But it is like, I mean, it's just like every single track on here is so excellent. And I just like love all of them. They all have something I really love about them. So it's we're talking about maybe December, because that's almost like the most straightforward kind of post-hardcore song here. One of the things that's really steady throughout this album, I think is really important to it, is like Sarah Lynn's drumming. It's very like for something that's so like floaty and out there, like the drumming is so about, like laying down the beat, you know, and like it's like really the thing that tethers these songs to like something that is like always very like you can sort of see where it's going.
Yeah, her drumming is very like persistent and solid, but also I like you could instantly recognize her style. Like she's a very unique drummer at the same time. So, like she does lay down the beat and she like sticks to it, but it's always played in like kind of I don't know. I'm not a drummer.
Yeah.
I'm not a drummer, so that makes it a bit hard. But there's like a bit more swing, a bit more like almost wooziness.
Yeah.
Like she's usually not just doing the quarter note hi hat kick snare thing. There's always like some kind of like twist to it that she's doing.
Yeah, like the rhythms are so kind of like infectious. Like they're never square, you know. It's always really it's always a
Yeah.
really it's always a really great like rhythm, really gets you moving and kind of head bombing. It's such a funny for an album that's like so weird. It's such a like it's such an important element of it is that like it really makes you like it kind of makes you like fucking stink face or something. Like the
Yeah.
rhythm of it is like I feel like that's such an important part of it. It's, yeah.
And the way the bass kind of plays into it. I mean, the rhythm section of Unwound is just
Yeah, I mean, it's really we
unparalleled.
should say it's the drums and the bass. Yeah, and it was Vern Rumsey at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like those two together, I think, are just like such a crucial part of the Unwound sound. It's just like it's so like they're just like a machine, you know. They can just like they just like lay the fucking song down. It is like tethered the fuck down as near
Yeah.
as it gets. It's yeah.
You can always hear both of them too. It's usually a pretty even mix with all the instruments, so it'll be like pretty bass forward. And the bass will be melodic, but also kind of I want to say like woozy again. But yeah, December in particular, you were saying.
Yeah. This one's got a great like sort of melodic crescendo near the end, which is sort of it's like a sort of uncharacteristically kind of like kind of cathartic, like directly cathartic moment for this album. Or really it's like
it builds in a very legible way.
yeah.
It's like everything kind of strips back for a second. They all hold back for a bit, and then these more clean guitars come in persistently, while the bass and the guitars are kind of trading off melodies. And the drums are building it up.
Yeah.
And it sounds awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, it's so good.
His vocals on this song are really like in the back of the mix, like very reverby.
Yeah, and they're like double tracked. They're very quiet, but they're also double tracked and like panned to one to the side. So they're super stereo wide, and then they sit like way in the back of the mix. It's a really and I think they have some little they have some like effect on them that's making them kind of warbly.
Yeah. So that's one of the things, like one of the ways in which it's less conventional than if another band or even if Unwound themselves did this song earlier in their career, then
Yeah.
it would sound a lot different than that. You'd have the vocals more up front. They'd probably be less melodic too.
Yeah. I mean, I love the section. It's like at like 120. It's very like kind of repetition. It's like and they're all like panned all over. Yeah, it's like all these little like stabs of guitar.
Yeah, that's kind of one of their signatures too, or those little dissonant intervals that they'll do.
Yeah.
On the guitars in particular, but sometimes on the bass as well.
Yeah.
Like little staccato, like sour chords.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Terminus.
Talking about Terminus.
I don't know if this album has a centerpiece exactly, but like it's maybe one of them.
Yeah, this is sort of I think of this as like the kind of like this is like the centerpiece. This is like the first the like first half centerpiece kind of.
Yeah, first because it is a double album technically.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh boy, is it a double album. 116 minutes, yeah. This is one that is sort of one of the defining tracks in this album. It really is like because this one is really like I would say this one you is definitely kind of post rock. like
Yeah.
in a somewhat more direct way.
Long songs, builds,
Yeah, and I got the big
atmosphere.
yeah, like really composed thing where it's really like developing some idea over like a long kind of arc, the way that like so much post rock does, and like yeah.
It is like clearly a post-hardcore song. Like it has like at least the first section of it. It's a weird post-hardcore song, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's got this. I guess winding is a good word for it.
Yeah.
The guitar line that it's just kind of loping around like um, while the drums. Oh my god, the Sarah on the drums on the song.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. Yeah. What's so interesting about this one is it's basically like three super distinct sections.
Yeah,
And like especially like the first two have like a bit of a transition between each other. Like the first part is like pretty kind of this is like a weird post hardcore thing. Oh yeah, he's like break me, I'm not broke, take me, I'm not took, cake me, I'm not cooked, fake me, I'm not fucked, wake me, I'm awake, shake me. Yeah, it's like it's so like I don't know. That's how a lot of the lyrics are. It's just like very like it just kind of like tickles something in the back of the brain, but it doesn't quite. It's very
you can't totally parse it, but I don't know how to put it. Talking about music, I don't know how to talk
fuck.
about
I don't
music.
know. Yeah,
Who made me do this podcast?
who the fuck is forcing me? But yeah, so this whole yeah, and the big refrain that comes up is like hold me, I'm a gun, 6 shots and I'll be gone. Hold me, I'm the
That is a
one.
cool line.
Tomorrow I'll be gone. Yeah, it's very like you see the like it's like okay, there's like you see the terminus thing coming in. It's just like I'll be gone tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll be gone. I'm a gun. 6 shots. I'll be gone. Yeah. But yeah, but so it goes so it like sort of does that for like a little bit, and then it just goes into this extended kind of like crescendo section where it like slowly builds this idea that
Yeah, it brings in some strings in this like really cool tension building way. I love the staccato notes in the bass, the do 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 do
Yeah.
do, and then they just like take off around like the 4 minute 15 mark, like violins, and kind of soaring above everything.
yeah. Yeah, the strings are so good on this album. It's really such an amazing because it does they don't feel like sappy at all. Like they feel
Yeah.
like they feel totally at home in this like punk song, but it's like literally fucking string section. It's really cool. Yeah, there's sort of this part where the everything drops away and it's just like the strings all like doing this really menacing kind of dissonant thing. That that's like droning on it, and then just immediately like oh just like a hard like right turn, and suddenly we're doing we just like go into this awesome like really kind of groovy section.
Yeah.
I don't know, and it's like a much more. It has this like sense of like hope, I guess, or something that like wasn't there in the rest of the song, but it, like not in like a but not in like a direct way. I don't know. It's like so interesting.
Yeah, it's such a weird move having that last section at the end, but it's so effective somehow. Like it makes it so much cooler.
Yeah.
Because yeah, that groove kills.
Yeah, it's so interesting. It's just like a random it's just this random little like enclosed section which is like super which is this great little
It's really
this great
hypnotic.
yeah, this really like hypnotic thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and it does feel like a brighter than the rest of the song, but yeah, a bit uneasy and cryptic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just leaves you like unsure of what to make of it, except that it was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, this song is just excellent.
Yeah, this is one of the songs that made me get the album.
Yeah.
Got the repeat listens, it was sticking out. Like, okay, I see what's happening here.
Yeah. I don't know. Like so if you're familiar with like I don't know Slint or something, then this one might be
Yeah,
it makes a bit of sense. That more sort of American post hardcore leaning post rock sound is kind of present here. Yeah.
mm-hmm.
The song that I remember that first like clicked for me. So I'll direct us to the song Demons Sing Love Songs.
Let's do it. Track number 6.
Track number 6. Yeah, this one is like I remember this is the one that kind of when like the sound of this album kind of clicked for me. As soon as that like as soon as that kind of like made sense, the rest of it kind of clicked into place. It was like one of the most sort of straightforward presentations of like the sound of like this album. It almost has like a sort of pop song structure to it, which is funny. This weird
Yeah.
way, but it's like such a weird but it has just this wonderful quality to it that I just love where it's like a little bit anxious but also a little bit hopeful, but also kind of like dark and like you feel or like you know it's like decaying and it feels temporary. It feels like something is ending.
Yeah,
But you feel like a bit of hope. It's just like all this really like complex cocktail of emotions kind of all boiled up in it, and then it just like lets you stew in it for the entire song. Yeah.
it's almost like a fucked up little dream pop song.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Like you see a dream pop song, but you're like, oh no, what happened to you?
Yeah.
Something's wrong.
This thing, the big refrain is loves a demon, loves a demon, loves a demon, love. I don't know.
Love hurts, man.
Love hurts. Yeah, that's like sort of what you feel. You know, it's just like yeah, I don't know. It sort of matches the song. It's like it's like hopeful and it's very It has a bit of there's like a bit of joy hiding in there, and also like a loss, and also like I don't know, like melancholy. They're just all kind of mixed together. Yeah, it's like loves a demon.
Yeah. There's an interesting couple of lines here in the second verse. It's sometimes I think I'm stranded in hotels hanging from the tallest tree in town.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I find that interesting combined with the loves a demon thing because yeah, hanging from a tree, that's
Yeah, that has strong connotations.
it definitely does.
Yeah.
Yeah, then I'm the monster standing by your heart, a life-size figure ashamed to be alive.
Yeah.
That goes back to the loves a demon thing. Which still, yeah, does sound like strangely hopeful in the way that he's singing it.
Yeah, it almost like I love the line the stranded in hotels thing. That always kind of sticks out to me when I hear it. It feels almost kind of like that like evokes something, you know. I'm just like
Yeah.
like just being I guess feeling of like always being like in a like
In
always like
transit.
living in like a transit, yeah, like in transit, like a transient space or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, you're never comfortable or never like settling down. You don't have a place
Yeah.
to call your own.
Yeah, it's like the when I left my island I was wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like you're I don't know. You always so it's just like it sort of gets like the uneasiness that's just like one of the elements of like sort of the cocktail here is like the the uneasiness, the anxiety, but it is like also indulging in like love and like joy. I don't know. I just
Yeah, and I find the guitar arpeggios to be so hypnotic. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's one of the few songs here that like really finds something like that and basically sticks to it the whole time.
Yeah, this one is really like deeply hypnotic in this way, and the drums and the bass are just like just keep going, just keep holding down the groove the whole time. Like they never like sort of let up. And so you just sort of you do go into a bit of a trance with it.
Yeah, it's a really cool one. I also want to talk about Scarlet.
We can talk about Scarlet.
Yeah, so this one I think is the most aggressive one on the album.
Yeah.
This one, it's definitely
This song
like
is terrifying.
post-hardcore forward, I guess you could say. It's like really foreboding. It has this like kind of droney, like repetitive guitar chord, like just holding on this one chord as the bass is looping around.
Yeah.
And this like Sarah just popping off on the drums.
Yeah.
And then when the vocals come in, they don't sound like they do anywhere else on the album. It sounds like noisy and kind of screamy, but also like so fucked up and warbly.
Yeah, it's like a scream whisper.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's a real. This one's like this one's always been like one of the ones I think about a lot on this album. It's there's something so deeply unsettling about the vocals. I mean the whole atmosphere is very like it's just full of like it leans all the way into like the anxious part of kind of the album, and it's very and the vocals are so unlike anything, like they're just like inhuman in this kind of way. It feels like it feels like this like you're like witnessing this creature from another world that you shouldn't be or something.
Yeah. Like just before the 3-minute mark when everything kind of drops out and he just keeps saying you know that I know that you know that I know.
Yeah.
That's like a really creepy part. It's got this like I don't know if
like
that's
a drum piece end of it.
Yeah, it's just like droning guitar thing. It sounds like it's reversed or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I just love this track. I mean, it's the vocals are always the thing I go to first on it because it's just so unique. It's like, but it has this like it really feels like the most it is I think the most raw track. The most, I mean, it's sort of fitting that it's called like Scarlet because it really feels like it's like bloody, you know. It's like, it feels like a wound or something as like a song. Yeah.
I like that description. That's really cool. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's a wound.
It's a wound.
Unwound.
Unwound. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's like the same. It's like the same. It's like the same spelling.
It all ties together, man.
Yeah, I love the. I guess it's sort of the chorus. The cross my heart and hope to die. Don't recall the reason why. You feel there's something kind of sinister in there.
Yeah.
And something kind of like
It feels like there's a real rage and frustration to it that isn't on most of the rest of the album.
Yeah.
It sounds like the song's trying to kill you a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, and the fact that the guitar for so much of it is just playing the same chord.
Yeah. Which also makes it very hypnotic.
Yeah.
It's like really loud and upfront rhythm section backing it up.
I know. It almost feels like it's like trying to like hypnotize you, and then also like kind of like and then also just like kind of like stab you a little bit at the same time.
Yeah,
it's like trying to it's like it's like twisting a knife inside of you while it also kind of hypnotizes you. Yeah, it's really it's really kind of grotesque.
I love it.
Yeah. This is I just adore this track. It's so good.
What else? We could really.
I know. I just want to talk about all the songs. We can talk about any of them. Yeah.
It feels like that might get repetitive if we talk about all of them, but like I don't know. It feels like more of a question of what do we leave out than what do we talk about.
We can just. I think then the next one I definitely October All Over.
Yeah, I gotta talk about that one.
This is one is one of those ones where I think is like very like I think is sort of encapsulates in a lot of ways encapsulates what the album is about in a lot of ways. Because this one has this it has this windy guitar thing, you know, that's like kind of at the core of it. It's like it almost reminds me of like American football or something.
It's kind of pretty.
Yeah, it's singing a song. It's very you feel it's sad. It's kind of deeply sad in the but that's not the only thing. You know, it's got like the first couple notes of it are like the it's very like that part is very kind of is like mysterious and like a little bit like, ooh, where's it going with that? But then the second half of it is kind of like is a little more genuine and you feel like the release of like a bit of emotion. But then it goes back to, ooh, where are we going? This is mysterious. And it's very interesting kind of basis for the song. For this consistent kind of movement.
Yeah. And then in the B section, it gets into a really nice groove with the drums and bass.
Oh yeah, it's got that.
Yeah, like almost dancey.
Yeah, it's like LCD Sound System or something. It's like.
Which just sounds funny, but like it doesn't feel out of place at all in the context of the song. And there's enough like happening, especially the second time it happens, like just before the 2-minute mark, with those like kind of cryptic guitar layers hanging above it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I kind of get the feeling of you're like trying to persist through this like really depressive or foreboding feeling. Like, I'm just going to try to push through it and ignore this, and it's like not really working.
Mm-hmm. You really feel this thing. It's like October all over. It's like the days are getting shorter. It's getting colder. It's like, is it going to be I can't ignore anymore that this is things are coming to an end. We're entering a winter, and I don't know what's going to happen on the other side.
Yeah, like in the lyrics it says only in October. Now it's nearly over. Maybe in November, if you can remember. Seasonal depression type shit.
Yeah, it's just seasonal depression type beat.
It's a powerful feeling though. If you've been there, you know.
Oh yeah, anyone. I mean, I guess not everyone is from places with that get seasons properly like this.
That's true.
Those of us who are from like roughly the northern band of the United States. This is how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All you SoCal motherfuckers don't get it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's nice out all the time. Whatever. Shut up.
Whatever, fucker. You considered fucking death.
Have you considered fucking off?
Yeah, I love the ending to this one.
Yeah.
It's got the like, you know what I mean? I think it's like
a
title thing. Yeah.
That came through a little bit. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. It reminds me of remember when that was the thing when they played they ended the show just by like they left their instruments just like
feedbacking
feedbacking.
Yeah.
And they just walked off stage. It was so awesome. They just like left it there for I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes or something. Just
yeah, and eventually the sound engineers just shut it off.
Yeah, and turned everything off. Yeah, it was so cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. That reminds me of that a little bit.
Yeah, I can hear that. Oh, that was so awesome.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, awesome song. I think it's also one of the more quote unquote popular songs on the album.
Yeah, it's one of the more straightforward ones. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I feel like I don't know. I want to do I feel like the last, I guess it's really 4 songs. I sort of see sort of feel like a suite to me. So I feel like maybe we should do those together.
Let's do it.
as a thing. I mean, okay, so should we do are there any other ones we want to hit before that? I have maybe one. Just
we could.
Yeah.
If you got one, then I'm down.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to highlight. I mean, God, there's so many I want to. All of them. I don't know. I feel like I really love Treachery.
Treachery is really good. That was another one that did like grow on me the quickest. It's catchier than a lot of the other ones are.
Yeah, no, it's got that really catchy. Yeah,
yeah,
it's like a little bit like bluesy or something.
Sing-songy, yeah. And then the chorus like treachery.
I know, yeah.
This was really foreboding.
Yeah. It's so funny for this album for the chorus to actually just be saying the name of the song.
That's true, isn't it? I guess on Look a Ghost, he says, "Look a ghost came through the door."
Yeah, I guess that's true. It is like they do often reference the name of the song, but it's just like they all like have a bit of that. Like he talks about "Love the Demon," and he talks about October being nearly over and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but normally it's not like the AC/DC method of just like the chorus is screaming the title over and over again.
Yeah.
Back in play, hey.
we gotta do a fucking AC/DC album at one point. That'd be so funny. Just totally switch it up. Yeah,
that would be hilarious. I've got an underground gem for you.
I've heard a highway to hell.
Oh my god. Let us know if you want it on our Patreon.
Yeah.
Should we bring that joke back? We haven't referenced the fake Patreon in quite some time.
I know, we sure haven't. Yeah.
It was always so funny. It was so funny every time.
It was so funny. It got laughs every time. Yeah, it brought the whole house down.
It got the whole squad laughing.
Got the whole squad laughing. Oh my god, we've been recording for such a long time.
Yeah, this is a beefy one.
This has been an epic one. That's fine.
That's fine. It's whatever.
Yeah.
I'll just spend a long time editing it. Who cares?
Anyway, yeah, this one I love the big wash of the synths on top of it. Like the most of it is very like the mix is very busy for quite a lot of the song.
Yeah, kind of a wall of sound thing going on.
Yeah. Yeah, even the drums like.
Sorry.
Yeah, like even the drums. She's like not. She's giving the snare just gets kind of like a little more of a it's like a little more of a thud or like a it's like it's a little softer a hit. It's not like the normal like the really hard like boom like a lot of this album and it sort of washes and mixes with the background a little more.
With lots of like, tom fills. Yeah, I like the guitar in the like towards the outro, like in that final section. The trouble with the truth is double section.
Yeah, the big triumphant part.
Yeah.
Yeah, that part is so good. That's such good, like cathartic, like the moments where it gives you like a straightforward song piece are like so like they hit you like so hard. It's just like, oh yeah,
yeah.
Oh my god, and those like backing vocals, which are like reverby and like all like I think they might be doing some tape loopy thing or something with them.
Yeah, probably. There's a lot of studio trickery going on in this album.
Yeah.
They're using the studio as an instrument.
Yeah, and then the outro is like the it's just like letting the vocals kind of drone on like that for a little while.
Yeah.
It's like a weird. It's like a really narrow hallway or something. Yeah.
Yeah. I can kind of hear that. A cold hallway.
Cold hallway. I think that's like another part of this album that I think is another little undertone to it. Is almost there's something almost a little like gothic about it. You know?
Yeah. Some people have tagged it as gothic rock influence.
Yeah. It has that, like, it's almost like, yeah.
It's not, like, aesthetically similar, I would say, but like, gloomy, like, extremely persistent, gloomy mood.
Yeah.
I can hear it.
It's definitely not, like, goth rock, but it is, like, gothic rock.
Yeah.
You know, kind of. Yeah, like, it's got some of that to it. In the sense of, like, gothic horror. It's kind of, it feels kind of, yeah.
So Summer Freeze now.
Okay, let's go into Summer Freeze.
Let's freeze it up.
I don't know if this is canonically true or anything, but like this is like they feel to me like kind of a suite in this way. Like they have there's like a bit of there's like a this progression through them which feels kind of clear. It sort of like builds this world and all these other songs, and then you get like a little sort of, it almost feels like you get this little like story inside of the world to close it out. And it gives you this like and there's this really great like closure you get out of it. I don't know, explain a little more what I mean by that.
Yeah.
As we go through, but yeah,
you have me intrigued.
I mean, you can see a little bit like we had our summer and it's going away. The summer is freezing, you could say. We're experiencing the summer freeze. We're going into winter. I feel like the story is a little bit of this, like, we're starting in this place of, like, things are going away, and it's, like, and so there's
and also, like, in the summer, so it's way earlier than you expected. It's like, it's kind of been taken from you.
Yeah. It's like it's been cut short, you know. That's always how it feels. Yeah, it's like it's coming. It's like, yeah, it's like it's freezing over. Yeah, and we're losing something. We'd like it. We want it to keep going, but we're losing it. You know, it's the summer freeze. Yeah, it's this like so there's like it's like a loss. And then there's like a sort of exploration of this, and then it's this question of like. Is it ever coming back? Are we getting something? Are we getting any, hope again? Or is this like some sort of all-consuming loss or something? That's sort of the question. But yeah, so Summer Freeze is all this like anxiety of kind of like feeling the summer slipping away.
Yeah. There's a couple lines here. Summer's freezing me, now I'm gone, so nothing is lost.
Yeah,
I find that interesting. This kind of self-hatred.
Yeah.
Once I was alive, it took me by surprise.
Then I realized I was. Yeah, that's like this thing again of like a loss, and like you once you were alive, now you're paralyzed. Took me by surprise.
And also like paralyze, freeze. Those kind of go together.
Yeah, so they sort of say what I'm. They sort of say what I'm getting at, kind of explicitly at the end in this outro. The summer's freezing. Summer's freezing here. Please come back next year. It's just like it's like, oh god, or their summer's freezing over. I hope it comes back next year, but it's like I don't know. Yeah,
that's true. It's like, well, it wasn't supposed to happen this time, so hopefully this isn't how it is forever. But I don't know. This would have made a great COVID album. I didn't really get into it that much during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Or during the lockdown, specifically.
Yeah.
The plandemic.
The plandemic.
The government, man, they got me wound up.
I know, man. The government got me so wound up. What's that shit they're putting in our kids, man?
Yeah. Oh, you know something that's very... I feel like very on theme for this album is my therapy appointment got canceled for tomorrow.
Yeah, I love the guitar tone on this one is so like I don't know, it's hard to describe it exactly. The way it like it's like doing these arpeggios and is very like but like the notes are very it's very sort of legato. Like the notes all are like quality, like I don't know. It feels like it's like I keep reaching for this word anxious, but there's something more to it. I'm trying to find in there. I don't know. It's like the clock is ticking or something. I don't know. That's like what it gives. That's what it's.
Yeah, it's like it's slipping through your fingers.
Yeah.
It also keeps landing on this kind of sour note in the arpeggios it does. There are a few different chords that it does, but it like consistently lands on this kind of sour note at the end and doesn't quite resolve.
Yeah, it's so like tense. It's yeah.
Yeah, especially that part where it lands on the like doo 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 doo.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's something really chilling about it. Yeah, and yeah, I could hear like in the wall sound kind of thing. I could hear like these freezing winds coming in.
Yeah.
All right, you're not prepared for it. Probably not dressed for it.
Yeah.
And something feels like deeply wrong.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
I love the sort of in the chorus when they or it's like the second part of the guitar line where it goes like do 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 do. It's got a little hammer on thing.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, it's got some of those like really warbly vocals are in one ear during that. Yeah.
Yeah, it has this really creepy, unsettling effect.
But yeah, I think the and then that really ties the song together is the big sort of breakdown section near the end. Mm-hmm. When it like coalesces into like this more kind of it's kind of post-hardcore, but it's like the it's one of these moments where they go into like a more straight kind of riff, which is like more just seeking, but it's very like it's this one that it like the thing it coalesces on rather than like a lot of the earlier sections kind of like that on this album or it'll be something kind of straightforwardly like a little bit hopeful or a little bit like like defiant or kind of I don't know, but this one is just like it's just like doom, you know?
Yeah, like things are bad here.
Yeah.
Shit sucks, bro.
It's like, oh shit, man, summer is really freezing.
My summer is ruined.
Yeah. Worst summer ever.
Yeah. White boy summer is canceled.
White boy summer is canceled.
Alright, so this is a suite.
Yeah. This is a suite. So yeah.
So how does it go into Radio Gras?
Yeah, so we're like, so summer freeze is like we're sort of anxious, and it culminates in just like is like, oh shit, this is happening, like we're done, like it's lost. And Radio Gras, this one I think is such a special song. I think it's incredible. I mean, it's just one of my favorite like pieces of music I've ever heard. I love it so much.
Yeah, this is such a standout for me too.
It's like, oh my god, this is a deeply, deeply sad song in like a very unambiguous way.
Awesome music video.
Describe the music video to the audience. Why don't you?
Yeah, so from what I remember, it was just all of this footage that. Like it's not clear why it's being compiled exactly, but it's like all this footage of like orcas being rescued, like some of them being like washed up on the shore and people coming up and rescuing them. It looks like an overcast day, like this really grainy footage.
Yeah, it's like a compilation of all the grainy footage.
Yeah. It's such a weird choice, but like, something about it is like really moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I can explain why exactly.
Yeah, it's this thing.
How it relates to this song, but it fits really well somehow.
I think it's just like it's so strikingly it's so like strikingly synergistic with the content of the song. Because the song is like is just it's mournful. And it just sits in it, like lets this just like tragedy kind of wash over you. But this video is like all these like whales, like orcas like washed up on the beach, and it's just like, and it's this thing of like you see how wrong it is. Like it's so like strikingly wrong.
Yeah.
This image. And there's something and the way these people like see you can see the way they like care for the whales, and it's like you don't know if the whale is going to make it or not or whatever, and it's like
yeah, that's a key part of it is you don't really know if the whales are doing okay. Like you can't really tell exactly what's going on with how grainy the footage is.
Yeah,
so it kind of like makes you worried about them. Yeah, this song has a very strong like funereal vibe.
Yeah,
with the like mellotrons like right up front. Like yeah, it feels like some kind of funeral march.
Yeah,
and it's mostly instrumental.
Yeah, except for the beginning, which is like a
yeah.
which is the sample. I looked it up, and it's like it's like a recording of this like old tape, which is like meant to like teach you Polish.
Yeah.
It's totally random. So it's just like this person like talking in Polish, and they say like Radio Gra. That's like one of the things, and then I guess that's where the name of the song comes from.
Yeah. It's like I don't know why they chose that or what the significance of that is, but it's hella cool.
So the song, I mean, a comparison point. Yeah, a piece I really love. The composer Arvo Pärt, his piece "Cantus in Memoriam Benjamin Britten," which is like which is very directly. It's just a short little piece, which was written in after the composer Benjamin Britten died. And so it's like that one is like very obviously about a that one's about like a loss in a very straightforward like obvious way. I don't know. This one reminds me in a lot of ways in that one, the way it sort of traces the sort of like emotional kind of immediacy and kind of experience of like a loss like this. It kind of like traces it in this musical way, in a very natural way, which makes you like which as it progresses makes you like feel that experience in this sort of micro form. The way it like sort of ebbs and flows, the feeling is very kind of present in the structure of the song. Mm-hmm. Where it'll like build into these big sections, or you feel, and then it'll like recede back, kind of. Yeah, like it'll be building these big moments where it has the backing vocals going like, ooh, where you start to really feel the height of the emotion, and then it kind of breaks. Like I feel like that's very much how that kind of feels in like actuality. Is it's never like it's always like this thing that only sticks around for like a moment, and then you're. And it like comes in kind of waves. Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear that.
But yeah, and then the ending is just like all the drum stuff drop away, and it's just these like it's just what sounds like these like sample strings.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
It's just such a gorgeous outro, and it's playing this final little like cry out into the void. Saying goodbye to something. Yeah.
And that goes pretty seamlessly into Below the Salt.
Yeah, it sure does. So I mean, I see like in the progression of this, we have like Summer Freeze is like this really anxious, like we feel the summer's ending, we feel it become real, and then we feel it, and then it's like we go into this realm of just like loss, and then we just like sit and feel like this and feel like just being like kind of desolate or whatever for like a little bit with Radio Gra.
Mm-hmm.
We're like outside. We're like fully outside kind of the old worlds, and we're into like, and now we're in this Below the Salt, which is like it's almost like it's like the winter. It's like just like the dead of all of the old world is gone. We're just here. What is it? Is it will there be a sun? Will there be spring at the end? Is it just going to be like this forever? We're just kind of here, like we're below the salts or something. Yeah.
Yeah, like the almost apocalypse has happened, like has already happened. This is like the aftermath.
Yeah, it's just like existing within it now. Yeah, I mean, so this song's very like it's like a super slow kind of like dirge.
Yeah,
I love the part where there's the little guitar. I don't know. It feels like just like lighting a match or something. Just like something, just like a little bit of like, okay, this is like a little bit comfortable. This where the guitar goes like, dun, 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 dun. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Yeah.
They also have this touch where there's this like kind of sharp ringing sound that comes in every once in a while. Like Discord would cut it out if I did it.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure it's like scraping the pick on the strings, but like on the head of the guitar, like above the fretboard. Or
Yeah.
it's this like atonal, really shrill sound, but they have it like reverbed and delayed.
Yeah. 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 So it becomes this big like boom, doom, doom. Yeah.
Yeah. Except like 7 octaves higher.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way the guitar and piano kind of interplay here is really
Oh yeah, there's
cool.
piano on this one. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, just playing this really melancholy little progression. And it's like the bass kind of ushers in. It's kind of doing this like washing in and out with the waves kind of thing again. It's like the bass brings in the next wave with its little run of doo 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 doo.
Yeah, it really does feel like the waves. Yeah. Yeah, it's like the waves like coming in and receding in this very like soft way. You know?
The sense of dynamics is really good on this song.
Yeah.
The texture of the cymbals. It's so despondent, but so nice.
It's interesting. There are like vocals on this one, like like they're like with lyrics and stuff, but that's like it doesn't come in until like halfway through the song, like at like 5 minutes in or something.
Yeah.
This 10 minute song. There's like a whole ass like instrumental song before there's finally some vocals, and they just come. They're just there a little bit, and then it goes back to the same sort of progression. It has a bit of crescendo in the second half.
It feels like a variation on that bass run that kept going throughout the first half.
Yeah.
Except that the guitar is also doing it like do 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 do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the vocals are like very like wispy, like beyond the grave kind of vibes.
Yeah. Look, a ghost.
Like a ghost. We found one.
Look, there's a ghost. Yeah. Yeah, the way it's like it's such good tension building, the way it's like it's doing like the waves kind of in and out, and very slowly the waves start to build up until like you're around like 8 minutes, you're reaching this part where like the waves never actually recede. They're finally like all like kind of building on top of each other into something that like is like coming to is like coalescing.
Yeah.
And we start to get a bit of like a good catharsis coming in. Yeah. And especially when the piano starts to do do da do da da do da do like do this arpeggio thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, this is like a straight up post rock song.
Yeah.
And it feels so earned after the rest of the album.
I know, this is just big. This big statement, big 10 minutes of building us up. We get this bit of kind of catharsis, but it's kind of fleeting, and then it starts to then the waves kind of break again. Then the outro it goes back into this drony stuff.
And with this these really nice piano arpeggios are in the background, like towards the end.
Those are like so satisfying when you finally get to those. Yeah. Yeah, and I love the way it just sort of it gradually just kind of all comes to a close with these these drones and like that like guitar sound right at the end when it's sort of doing this like it's doing this like like, you know what I mean? It's like
Discord doesn't like it.
it was like it's like you know what I mean? Except like high and metallic. Like the guitar kind of turns into that sound. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of feedbacking a little bit. But with the
it's like whatever
pedals.
Yeah, it's like making. I think it's like a. It's like a gate. It's like an envelope thing. It's like an LFO. That's like. But yeah. Anyway. So that's like the. Oh man, that track is so good.
It is. That's another one of my favorites. And then we get into Who Cares.
Yeah, and there's like a seamless transition between it, so it's in sort of an obvious way. It's like a continuation of Blow the Salt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what do you think about this as a closer?
We have the just like kind of living in like the desolate world for a while, and then there's this sort of winds. So it's the start of the first like minute or so of Who Cares is just like a noise piece. And so it's like the winds and it's like the sort of, and then suddenly out of all of that, the sun starts to come up, you know?
Yeah.
It's like something comes up. It's like, what? It's spring. It's spring again.
Yeah, I can hear that. And it sounds like a little uncertain at first, like the way that they're kind of on that sour chord, like
Yeah, it's like kind of timid, and it's like a little shy to come out.
Yeah,
but then you get it, and we get like it's like it's a new world, it's a new like good world, you know. It's like there's a bit of like, you know, it gives it like a happy ending. To this little journey, this like sort of 4-track journey,
and then
but then Who Cares? Yeah, that has like the funniest ending I've ever heard on like an album I adore. Yeah. It ends with just like it goes into this like super like step on up, Sonny, like sort of old swing, like this old like sort of like 30s or 40s like swing like
Dixieland, whatever.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of ends.
Yeah. Yeah, like goes on for a while. It goes on for like a couple minutes. Like,
yeah, there's like just as much of that as there is the actual song.
Yeah.
So I guess, do you interpret the like optimism of the first part as being genuine, and then the second part as being kind of funny, or do you interpret it as like a fake out?
I think it's like I think it's like I don't think it negates the beauty of like the hope it gave us in the end. It's ultimately like they're true to their punk roots, you know. They can't give you something that straight without like a wink at the end, you know.
Yeah, it was like a little too earnest there for a second.
Yeah, like this album isn't one of giving you it straight. It's always murky, you know. It's always got to be murky, and so yeah, we got to have the Who Cares. Yeah, so it's always there's got to be like a punchline or like a little joke to break the earnestness, which is like so funny. I mean, it's I don't think it's negating the what we've earned, what we've arrived at and learned or whatever. But it's just like, you know, there's always a humor in everything, I guess.
Yeah, fantastic album. I think your love for it maybe goes a little deeper than mine at the moment, but we'll see if that changes. As it is, I do love it, but yeah, I think you're kind of the one who really feels it.
Yeah, it's just like I don't know. It something that just like hit me really deep, and it became one of these albums where it's just like I feel like there's like a me like before and after this album.
Yeah.
I see the way it like kind of taught me something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, and it's just hard. This one's really one that needs to be grappled with. Like so many of like my favorite albums ever, it's like I can articulate much more clearly what I like love so deeply about them.
Mm-hmm.
This one, it's much harder. It's something that's very clear when I hear it, but it feels much more like it's hard to like capture it, and
Yeah.
it's like fleeting. Yeah.
It's easier when you can say like, oh, it's one of the heaviest albums ever, or it's one of the catchiest albums ever. But
yeah,
when it's doing something that's so complex and abstract, it's a lot harder to talk about. But I think we've done a pretty good
job
of explaining it.
You did a good number on it.
Yeah, listen to the album yourself. Tell us what you think.
Listen to it yourself. Yeah.
If you don't like it, listen to it again. Force yourself to like it if you must.
Force yourself. We can talk about One Lick Less, the one that sounds a little bit like My Bloody Valentine.
Oh, yeah.
It's funny. I always notice that. I mean, it's an incredible track.
Yeah, that one does sound very MBV. That's true. Yeah, and Look a Ghost. I don't even think we mentioned Look a Ghost. Which
that was one of the big ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we like talked about it, but we didn't like talk about it.
Yeah, it's one of the more straightforward ones. Like a kind of post-punky groove. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I love the way he goes like, man, she's coming back for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was singing like that. Like,
for you. Yeah, it's a good delivery on that one. But yeah, very, very unique album, very evocative, very unapologetically its own thing. It's a big risk, but I think it's their most popular one these days. I mean,
yeah,
it's
kind of crazy.
The like one or two songs that they played from this, that when we saw them live, people went crazy for it.
Okay, these ones must be much harder to do live.
Yeah, well, on their tour,
they might
the
even
original
like December
Leaves
or something.
Tour, December could have been. On the original Leaves tour, they had a bunch of other like touring members.
Yeah,
to kind of recreate that sound.
Yeah, it's hard to do all the strings and synths and stuff when you just have 3 people.
Yeah. So when we saw them, it was a more like stripped back punk set, but it was heavy.
It was great. It was so heavy. Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome.
They were really, really good. Yeah.
Well, no, that's it. That's the end of the podcast, I guess.
That's the end of the podcast, isn't it? Yeah, that sounds very good. You should go listen to it.
Yeah. And with that, I fuck off.
With that, fuck you. See ya.
Shit, bye.